Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In the past, I have shown you some amazing applications built using entirely in Google AppScript and Google Sheet like Student Management System, Employee Management System, Real-Time Chatting System, Customer Management System, Invoice Management System, and many more. Many of you have requested a full tutorial series starting from the basic on how to build such powerful tools step by step. So today I am starting a brand new series that will cover all the essential topics to help you build your own complete web app using Google AppScript and Sheet, even you are a beginner. So today we'll learn CRUD system, that is create, read, update and delete in Google Sheet using Google AppScript. So let's get started. At first you have to open the browser and then you have to write driver.google.com. If you are already logged in, it will open, or if you are not logged into Gmail, it will ask for sign in. So now let's create a new sheet. So this is the sheet. Let's name it CRUD. Okay. Now let's give the sheet name as data, then name, the second, and then age in the third. Okay. Now to access these sheets and to access the column or cell, we have to write the code. So to write the code, we have to go to the extension and then AppScript. So now this is the editor of the AppScript. So let's rename this AppScript as CRUD. Okay. Now let's write a function that will access the sheet, this sheet. So name the function as getSheet. Okay, we will not pass any parameter over here. So open the function, and now what we will do here is that we will create a variable spreadsheet. Okay, and in that variable what we will be doing is that we will access this sheet, spreadsheet. So for that, what we have to do is that we have to write SpreadsheetApp. So what is this SpreadsheetApp? It is a built-in AppScript service that lets us to interact with Google Sheets. Think of it as the main controller for accessing, reading, writing, formatting, and managing Google Sheets. And then we'll type dot, and then we'll type get active spreadsheet. So what does it do is that it gets the current open Google Sheet that on where the AppScript is running. So this AppScript is running on this spreadsheet. So it will return this spreadsheet. So now since this is a function, we will write open and close bracket, and then what we will do is that we will write dot, then get sheet by name. So now what we will do is that we will now access the sheet. So here is only one sheet, data. So we'll access the data. So let's name this as sheet name. So this function will return this sheet, data sheet. Now let's add the function that will add the record to this data sheet. So for that, let's write function add record. Initially we will not pass any variable over here. So now here we have to return this sheet name. Okay, so let's return sheet name. Now here we will declare a variable sheet, and then we'll call this get sheet variable. Okay, so now what we will do is that we'll write sheet dot append. So we'll now append the row. So let's append the row. ID will be 1 and let the name will be Ronnie, and then age will be. So if we save this and if we run this function, it will ask for the permission to give all the permission that is required. So it must add the value in that. So now let's add another one. Sorry, if we run this, it will append the second one over. So what this function is doing, this function is appending the data. Okay. So now let's edit the record. So to edit, let's create a function called edit record by ID. Okay. So here what we will pass? We will pass the ID, then we'll pass the name, then we'll pass the age, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll create a variables sheet and we'll call this function. And now what we will do is that we will create another variable data which will contain all the data. So here what we will do is that we will write the variable sheet and then we will press the dot. It will give all the function that can be used. So here we will need to get the data, get data range, and then we will need values. So what this function is doing? This function, it gets all the data from the sheet. Now what we will do is that we will create a loop, for loop, for let I equal to 1 and then I less than data length. So all the record has been saved to this data variable, and then what we are doing is that we'll loop from all the row and we'll match the ID. If the ID is matched, we'll update that row. So for that, what this one is doing is that it loop through the row with the length this data. Now I++. Now we'll check if the ID is matched. So if data within bracket I, then 0. So what this line is doing, I is 1, that is it will first check this one. Okay, since this is the header, it will check from this. Okay, 1. So this one is 0, 0, and this one is 1. Okay, so 1, and then this one is 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, and this one is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here for the first loop, I is 1 and row is 1 and column is 0. That is, so data I 0 equal to ID. If it is match, then what this will do, it will set, that is sheet dot get range I plus 1 comma 2 dot set values. Set value will be there. So now we'll copy this line and we'll paste over here, and we'll write here 3, and then here age. So what this line is doing, this line, this is the sheet, that is the data sheet. So if the IDs match, this will go to the range, that is I plus 1. Here in your mind there may be a question that we are looping through this data variable from 1, and then here we are using this I plus 1, that is if the ID is 1, that is 1. So why you are using this I plus 1? So let's understand this. So this data variable is a 2D array of the entire sheets. Okay, so the first row is data 0, that is data 0 is this, okay, header. So the array is start with 0, but the sheet is starting with 1 2 3, okay, not by 0. So since the array is start with 0 and the sheet is start with 1, we have to write this I plus 1 to access the actual row. I hope you understand. If it is match, and it will update this update the row, and then it will break from this loop. So now let's see whether it is working or not. We'll create a function test, and then here we'll call this function with ID 2, and then name will be Johnny, and then age will be 25. Okay, so now save this, and if we run this test function, it must update this. It has executed. Okay, I have done a mistake over here. It gives the first row only, so we have to write here get values. Okay, now if we run, it must update. See, so now let's fetch the record. So to fetch, we'll write function fetch all. So we have already written this function. So this is the function over here. This is the code over here. Okay, so now we will, since we have and now we can log the data, logger.log. So it's like the console.log in JavaScript. So if you run this function fetch all, it should give the data. Okay, so if we not want to include the header, then we will write over here data dot slice 1. So what this will do, it will slice the header, it will cut the header. So if we log, see, now if we write over here is 2, then it will cut the record from the second row like this. So now we can write here return data. Okay, and now you can delete this and also this, and here you can call this function. Okay, now let's fetch the record by ID. So we have already written this function. We have already seen how to fetch the ID, how to fetch the record by their ID in edit record. Now we will again see how to fetch the record by ID. Okay, so for that function fetch by ID. So here we will create a variable data, and here what we will do is that we will call this fetch all function. It will fetch all the data. So before returning the data in fetch all, we will slice the header, and now we will loop over this data. I less than. Okay, you have already seen this. So we will copy this over here and Now if it is match, it will return the data, else it will return. Okay, so now let's try our in the test console. So now let's paste the ID to, we'll logger it, logger.log. So if we run this, it must show the record, see, and if we paste the ID with 1, and it must return why it is null. Let's see, it should not be null, but it's returning the null value. So since we are fetching all the data by slicing, therefore it's not access the first row. So we will now delete this. Okay, so if we write this slice over here, then we have to loop this for loop with 0. So we'll delete this slice over here, and if we now run, it's okay. So now see the delete operation, how you can delete any row. So now let's write function delete row record by ID. So for that, again we have to fetch the all the data. Okay, now we have to loop through it. Let's copy whole thing. Okay, we have to loop through it, and then if the IDs match, what we will do, we will write this line, c dot delete row, and then I plus 1. So now let's run. Now let's run this delete function with the ID 1. So if we run it, it must delete this row. Oh, shift is not defined. So where is the shift? It's 42. Oh, so it's giving the error over here. So for this constant, we have to write this line over here, and now if we run, it must be, see. So this is the CRUD operation, simple CRUD operation that must be practiced. So I hope you enjoy this video. So this is the first video of this tutorial series. So I will see in the next video. Till then, bye bye.